Raleigh politicians have just one district: big cities. They push big cities to the front of the economic development line, while small towns are left behind. Rural communities need a voice in Raleigh, and that's Chris Humphrey, small businessman, lifelong Lenoir County resident. Humphrey will fight to create jobs, strengthen public schools, and get rural communities their fair share. Chris Humphrey, a voice and a vote for rural families.
Else to investigate is
about sharing a post from a downtown business in the ebb and flow of how we. Over the last 3 years at Magic Mile Media, a lot of clients have asked about our ability to do more video work, whether that is to highlight a product that you want to sell, or maybe something that's fun as a vlog series. We're really happy to announce that Magic Mile Media is now doing those types of video commercials just for you on social media. Well, hello everyone. This is BJ Murphy, publisher of Noose News and NooseNews.com, and welcome to this primary election night results show. We're so happy to be here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Certainly want to say thanks to all of our sponsors. You see them on the screen. Poole Realty, that's Brooks Poole and Walter Poole Realty. Chris Humphrey, candidate Chris Humphrey, who's a current representative, also running again for his seat. Fox Trail Mini Storage, some good folks there, Chris Rouse and Amy. Matrix East, PLLC, professional land surveyors. Bannister Fine Gifts and LaGrange. Go check them out for some wonderful gifts. And certainly King's Restaurant, which we had some King's barbecue here in the studio this evening. Just want to say again, thank you so much for joining. Please make sure you like and share this broadcast. We do know that there was a little bit of delay across the state of North Carolina. We just jumped off a conference call with the State Board of Elections just a few moments ago as they were talking about some delays in a couple of counties across the state, which forced the board to then make the decision to, or I wouldn't say force, but the board felt that it was in the best interest of all the citizens across state to make sure that all citizens in those precincts were given the rightful chance to vote. But that did force the delay in the election night results total. So we will start releasing some of those results totals in just a little bit as they come into our office. We do know that some national media has made some predictions on who they expect to win, and each state says this is Super Tuesday. But we also know that there are a lot of races here in our backyard that are really important to us, and certainly we'll get to those in a second. I really want to say again, thanks to Brooks Poole, Walter Poole Realty. If you're considering buying or selling your home or commercial property in Lenoir County or the surrounding areas, well, do you want a real estate agent that has a unique understanding of both commercial and residential properties? Well, at Walter Poole Realty, we are determined to provide the best service for our clients in all aspects. They work diligently with buyers and sellers at all price points. Their goal is simply to provide their clients with a hassle-free experience by simplifying the process of a real estate transaction. Just give Brooks Poole a call at Walter Poole Realty. That's 252-526-8756, and let them know what they can do for you. Again, that's Brooks Poole at Walter Poole Realty, 252-526-8756. And if you jumped on our We Report News Facebook group yesterday, we posted in there a question about how many people actually turned out to vote in the one-stop early voting in Lenoir, Greene, and Jones counties. We gave you 4 options, and the numbers, the choices were all across the board from 11,000 down to 4,000. Well, there were only 2 people, I believe, who got this answer right. The number was 6,518. 6,518 people voted early in the one-stop absentee ballot process across our 3 counties. So I would definitely want to make sure that you subscribe to Noose News. It's a free newsletter. It comes out every morning at 7 a.m. And also, if you want to place a Help Wanted ad or you want to promote your event, please go to NooseNews.com and click on the menu, FAQs, and there's a few how do you promote your event, how to place your advertising with us. If you're a nonprofit, there's some ways to do that. If you're a for-profit, there's some ways to do that as well. We want to give everybody the option that they deserve. With that, I want to bring on a couple of guests, and sitting to my right, to your left, is current City Councilman Robbie Swenson. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, and to my left, to your right, is Catherine Hardy, a Noose News correspondent. Thank you, Catherine, for jumping on tonight.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be here.
She's going to come up there just a second. You'll see it. There she is. Want to say a special thanks to all the folks in our broadcast booth. You'll get to know them a little bit as we go through this evening. But let's talk first, Councilman Switson. I know this is Super Tuesday across the country. North Carolina plays a big role in that. So a lot of delegates up for the presidential debate. There's for the presidential contest, but also some very important local races. What say you about the current state of politics and some of the races happening?
I think it's really contentious. You have a lot of people that's trying to make up their mind on who they're going to vote for and who they think is the best candidate, I think, for the national and state level. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the results come out this evening.
Well, and we know that there's no city council races, mayor races this year. This is a presidential year.
Right.
So you run in off-year elections, but there still are some very important local races.
Absolutely.
And Catherine, I guess you would be a self-described political junkie.
Maybe just a little bit.
So tell us what you've seen. I know we haven't done a tremendous amount of political reporting, but we have done our fair share. What are you seeing in the state of North Carolina, or at least locally?
Well, locally, there are only a few races locally that have seemed to have gotten a lot of attention. The race for the North Carolina Senate District 7 between Jim Perry and Billy Strickland. I think a lot of people have at least know that race is going on, just because I know I have gotten probably at least on average 2 flyers a day between those two candidates for the last couple of months. Gotten phone calls and text messages. So that's definitely a race that's been interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. You've also got races on for governor, lieutenant governor, and I think those races are probably some that most folks don't know much about the candidates. Mm-hmm. So while I will be interested to see how those turn out, I don't know that they have just as much local interest as the ones that have been really hammered home in this area.
Yeah, I did see, of course, I got a lot of mail pieces, and we got some of the first numbers coming up. We got a lot of mail pieces, and some people were concerned about the amount of mail pieces. And what's interesting about politics is a candidate they have to disclose who pays for it, and most of the mail pieces I've got were not supported by any candidate.
That's been the thing, is there's been so many outside groups that have jumped into that race that I think there's almost some backlash to the candidate.
Right.
When groups tend to plaster people's mailboxes with mailers. I know I've heard, just anecdotally, some people have said, well, I'm not voting for the whatever candidate because they won't stop sending me mail.
Right.
It's like, the candidate didn't necessarily do that.
Right.
And by law, political action committees and outside groups can't coordinate
right.
with political campaigns. So even if he wanted to, whichever candidate, they can't go to that group and say, would you please stop sending out mail? Because that would be illegal under campaign finance laws. So.
And we have some of our first results in, just so I can see back here. As you see back home, Greene County Board of Commissioners, District 2, Barry Anderson's at 30%, Albert Barron at 69%. And how many were in that? Was that just? That's just so voting for one there. We got some more. All right. So in the Republican primary for NC Senate District 7, some of the first results. Pull them up on the screen here for me, Travis, so I can see them a little bit better. We've got Jim Perry at 68%, and Billy Strickland, attorney from Goldsboro, at 31%. Pull down the Twitter. How many precincts was that? That was just all one stop?
Voting.
That was all one stop. Okay.
Good.
So in one stop, and that would include, was that all Lenoir? Was Lenoir in that just as well?
It says Lenoir.
Those was right. Those are statewide numbers. But do we know if we've got those from Lenoir and Wayne just yet? So the first numbers, and again, when we're talking about, Robbie, some of these first numbers that drop, it's so preliminary. People kind of want to get an idea of what's happening, but they are so preliminary.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
So in some of our local races, Robbie, we've got NC House District 12, which is currently represented by Representative Humphrey, but we've got Dianco Brewer, a Linton Brown. I don't know Mr. Brown from Green. Was it Pitt County, I believe.
Don't know Mr. Brown either.
And I happened to see Miss Cox Doughty earlier today. She seemed to be fairly optimistic, a big smile on her face. She was excited about the campaign.
Yeah, she's a great young lady. Mr. Brewer's a great guy. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting race.
And both of them are from Lenoir County,
County.
and with someone, so there's a chance they could split some of the primary votes here.
Absolutely.
Which would tend to bode well for Mr. Brown. Just not sure exactly how much of his district would be he'd cover there in Pitt County, because it really isn't much. It's mostly the Ayden area, I believe.
Yeah, small percentage there.
Right. And then Lenoir County Board of Education at large, we have incumbents Merwin Smith and Bruce Hill face a challenger, Les Lipford. And what do you think about that race?
Well, Bruce is well known throughout the community. Mr. Smith is well known throughout the community. Les is a guy that's been here, been very advocate here in the community. He's been recent getting into political field,
Right.
and I think he's a good guy. I think he'd be a great asset to the board. I like all three candidates. It's hard to say who's going to pull that out.
It's going to be tough. And we do have some initial numbers from NC 12. That would be NC House District 12, the Democratic primary there. And see if we can pull those up. There they go. Dianco Brewer's at 34%, Mr. Brown at 11%, and Ms. Cox Doughty at 54%. So looks like in the early stages, Ms. Cox Doughty has about a little over 630 vote to her favor in the one-stop early voting. So again, what happens, everybody, is that over the last couple weeks or so, people have been voting, and those numbers are tallied, and they are released once the polls close. And so that's why these numbers are very preliminary, but we at least have some numbers so you can kind of get an idea of what's happening. We also have the Greene County Board of Education. In this, it's a Republican primary. You can vote for two: Joey Rackley, Mr. Mason Dyer, and Brandon Johnson. Mr. Rackley has 33%, Mr. Dyer at 23%, and Mr. Johnson at 43%. Again, some of the one-stop early voting numbers there in Greene County for their Board of Education representative for the general election. So with that, we'll also cover, I know we mentioned Greene County just a second ago, and we'll also talk about, we talked about Greene County's Board of Commissioners, Greene County Board of Education. There's also an NC Senate District 6 race in Jones County that we'll talk to. In fact, I just saw the chairman of the Jones County Commissioner, Mr. Frank Emery, is in the building, and we'll have him up here in just a second. And pull up that graph. There it is. Tweet your hashtag election 2020 NN experience. If you go on Twitter and tweet that, then can we pull up an example of what we're able to do with some of the technology we're showcasing this evening? Oh, he said 1 second. Oh, so there it is. So this is News tweet a while ago, letting everybody know that, hey, you can do it. There's a few more tweets there. So if you will go to Twitter and use the hashtag election2020NN, then we will have the opportunity to pull you up on our screen for everybody to see. So thank everybody for doing that. Please make sure you're sharing and liking this broadcast on Facebook as well. All right, we have some preliminary numbers from District 6. This is the NC District 6, which represents a portion. This represents Jones County and some other areas. Bob Williams at 48% and Michael Azera at 51%. So that is a very close race there. Those are for the entire district, correct? Those numbers for the entire district? For the district-wide. Okay, just want to make sure it wasn't just Jones County numbers. So that's for the entire district there. And so it looks like it's going to be a very tight race. We'll be watching that one this evening. If I'm not mistaken, that is to fill the seat for Senator Brown.
Yeah, I believe so. So that district, which it encompasses Jones County, but it also stretches into Onslow County, I believe. So that I feel like Onslow County will probably have a lot more say in the who wins that race than Jones County, just due to sheer population.
Right, and we'll get Mr. Emery to come on in just a little bit. So he's back there smiling at me right now. So he's chomping at the bit to come talk about that race. I know Senator Brown was a big part of that, big part of that community. And right now, we've got some preliminary numbers from the Lenoir County Board of Education at large, the Democratic primary. Merwin Smith, the incumbent, 41%. Bruce Hill, incumbent, at 30%. And Les Lipford, the challenger to this race, at 28%. Again, it looks like it's going to be a very tight race as we get through this evening as well. Make sure we didn't lose anything. Everybody good back there? So again, like we mentioned earlier, tweet your 2020 election, hashtag election 2020 NN experience to us on Twitter, and we'll pull that feed up as we get through the night. Now, Robbie, we fully expect North Carolina, which is more or less a purple state. It really has bounced between Obama and Trump over the years. We really expect North Carolina to be one of those states, again, that whoever wins the Democratic primary, we're not even going to present the numbers for the Republican primary for say we know President Trump's going to win. Yes, please do that. Sorry, I'm listening to two different things. But what do you think about North Carolina's position in U.S. politics this year?
It's a possibility it could turn blue. I think Biden has a strong chance of coming out for North Carolina. It's going to be very interesting. Last year it was red, so hopefully it'll be a change of the tide.
I understand. If you don't know, Robbie and I served on Kansas City Council together. I was mayor and he was my mayor pro tem. So we had a lot of fun, very strong partisan conversations, some
Absolutely.
conversations about race relations,
Yes.
some very tough conversations about crime and the growth of our community. But I've always told folks that you and Colonel Tyson were two people who served with me as pro tems, that any conversation we had, I never heard about those conversations from somebody else. So
Right.
building trust in the political sphere is something that seems to be known at the local level, but
Right.
not really known at the state and national level.
Right.
We don't even have a state budget, for example, which
Yeah.
is kind of surprising and
Absolutely.
disturbing all at the same time.
Absolutely.
So we've got some preliminary numbers, I believe. My understanding is that Lenoir County, how many precincts reporting on this? Lenoir County Board of Education, District 3. That's Kimberly Outlaw, Democrat, and Richard Bogan, Democrat. Richard Bogan is the incumbent. How many precincts are reported? This is just one stop early voting? Just want to double check. Just want to make sure. This is 2 of 4. Okay. Wow. So this is actually 2 of the 4 precincts, and I don't have those precincts names in front of me right here. But looks like in the beginning, Miss Outlaw has got a 3-1 lead on that race. Catherine, have you had a chance to do any reporting on some of the public school board matters?
I have since August. I have not.
Because you're deeply involved in education now.
Deeply involved in education, but at LCC rather than being able to get into the LCPS. So I haven't been able to do any reporting on this race. I've seen some stuff on Facebook, but I really don't know a lot about the state of this race. But it's certainly surprising anytime you see an incumbent at 25% and a challenger at 74%, even at the early stages. With two of 4 precincts reporting, that looks to me like a lead that will be difficult to overcome, and so that could be interesting. Could be seeing a new face on the Lenoir County Board of Education.
It very well could happen. I was actually at the Lenoir County Public School Board meeting last night and got a chance to. Both of my girls happened to be presenting or doing something there last night, and very cordial environment. Had a lot of fun. A lot of kids were recognized last night. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, the meetings that I've been to, they've definitely always been very, very cordial. Seem to have a very good working relationship between all the board members. So I'm sure that will continue no matter who is serving.
All right, we got some more numbers, if I'm not mistaken, Matt and Travis. District 6.
Whew.
So this is the Senator Brown seat we were referring to earlier, Bob Williams and Michael Lazara. That is an actual tie, 418 to 418. So with 6 of the 7 precincts reporting, that will be very interesting to see what happens in that last precinct. With that, Travis, we'll need to cut to a commercial real quick as we get some more of these results back in. We want to say a special thanks to everybody who's watching. Please be sure to like, share this broadcast, because these numbers are coming in faster than they typically are because of the delay this evening, which means more people are already working to get these results already in. So we should have a short night. So we want to say a special thanks to our sponsors right now.
Raleigh politicians have just one district: big cities. They push big cities to the front of the economic development line, while small towns are left behind. Rural communities need a voice in Raleigh, and that's Chris Humphrey, small businessman, lifelong Lenoir County resident. Humphrey will fight to create jobs, strengthen public schools, and get rural communities their fair share. Chris Humphrey, a voice and a vote for rural families.
Else to investigate is
Not sharing a post from at downtime is in the ebb and flow of how we. Over the last 3 years at Magic Mile Media, a lot of clients have asked about our ability to do more video work, whether that is to highlight a product that you want to sell, or maybe something that's fun as a vlog series. We're really happy to announce that Magic Mile Media is now doing those types of video commercials just for you on social media. Well, welcome back. Thank you so much again to Representative Chris Humphrey for helping to sponsor this broadcast. And again, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that you see listed on the left side of your screen. I guess it's over here. It's on your side, Robbie. Water Pool Realty, Brooks Pool, Representative Chris Humphrey, Fox Trail Mini Storage, some good folks. Please go check them out, some mini storage. Matrix East, they do a really great job here in our community as well as across eastern North Carolina. Banners to Fine Gifts in LaGrange. Make sure you reach out to Bruce and tell him that BJ and News team sent you to him. And certainly there is no finer barbecue in our area than King's Restaurant, although I'm sure a few others might disagree with me, but that's okay. It's a good debate. And again, for Brooks Pool, just want to say, look, if you're considering buying or selling a home or commercial property in the Lenoir County or surrounding areas, or if you really just want a real estate agent that has a unique understanding of both the commercial and residential properties, well, at Water Pool Realty, they're determined to provide the best service to their clients in all aspects, working diligently with both the buyers and sellers at all price points. And they said that their goal, really, I had this conversation with Brooks this week. He said, look, our goal really is just provide our clients with a hassle-free environment by simplifying the process of real estate transactions. In fact, I heard today that the Fed even cut rates today, so great time to buy a property here in Lenoir County surrounding areas. Just give Brooks Pool a call at Water Pool Realty. That's 252-526-8756. And if somebody doesn't mind, put this number in the comments. That's Brooks Pool at Water Pool Realty, 252-526-8756. Again, thanks Brooks Pool at Walter Poole Realty. Now, I have a special guest. I just teased that a while ago. He is the current chairman of the Jones County Commissioners. This is Mr. Frank Emery. Thank you for jumping on with us tonight.
Thank you, BJ. We appreciate all you do on behalf of all the commissioners in Jones County. We thank you for the live stream you do for us on all our Monday night meetings. All our citizens are enjoying it, and we think it's a great way for them to get information out what's going on in Jones County.
Well, I appreciate it. We don't do a good enough job of telling people at Magnamount Media really is kind of behind the scenes at what's happening at some of the really cool things in Jones County. But it really is neat to be on the behind the camera. You're seeing me in front of the camera at this desk tonight, but we've got an entire system, entire team. Maybe Travis will show a little video of what's happening behind the scenes there. But we've got a really cool team, and we help live stream the Jones County Commissioners. Also help, there's some of them back there.
There they are.
And we also help produce a show called Jones County Chat, which is kind of like a fireside chat with the county manager, some guests. And it's a really great community service. It came out of a conversation with Lenore Community College, and Jones County has really picked it up, and Magnamount Media is happy to be a part of that team. Well, again, thank you for coming here. You're no stranger to Lenore County, and I know you've taught at LCC for a while, but let's talk about the politics, though. You've served for Jones County citizens for 16 years.
Well, I'm at my 14th year, I believe now.
Is that right?
I got about 2 more years to go.
And does that mean you're retiring, or is
No,
this
who
breaking
knows?
news?
You never reveal that until the time.
Well, so tell me what's happening in Jones County right now. What's the big thing that's going on?
Well, the biggest thing we got going on now is the election there for the District 6, which is Harry Brown, who's been a great asset to Jones County. You know, he helped us in the funding for our schools, and he's done a lot of things for Jones County and Onslow. You know, he represents Onslow and Jones.
right.
So I think we had some of the results in a while ago.
Right, they were just
that
the
showed
Jones County numbers.
and
Yes,
it looked
sir.
like I believe it was Williams was ahead on that.
It was
very tight.
really close, yeah.
Yeah,
14.
and so Onslow County is going to be the deciding factor in that, obviously.
Well, it's interesting, though, since you represented Jones County for so long, you know the people, you live there. Seeing a race that tight, it's got to be really interesting to watch that unfold in your backyard.
Yeah, well, it really is, and it's going to be. They're going to have some big shoes to fill for Harry Brown because
No
he's
doubt.
been a great asset for us, and we just see how it turns out when the Onslow County tally comes in.
And News was there when the governor, as well as a lot of politicos and yourself and others, including Mr. Brown, Senator Brown, were on hand to unveil the brand new school. Tell me how that's going, a little bit about that project.
Well, that's going great. All the staff there is really making a lot of progress, and the students are enjoying all of them that I get to talk to. They're really enjoying it. We just had a meeting there with the FFA. We had actually an oyster roast there for a fundraiser, and got to see some of the inside, how it actually is working now with all the equipment and everything else that they've had installed. So it's really doing great.
And it's both, tell me what schools are actually in this one building.
Well, it'd be the middle school and the elementary school and the high school.
So all three, and isn't that really neat,
Wow, that's
Robbie? I
really
know
neat.
Robbie's wife has been in education for some time. My wife is in education, and it's been a while since we've heard of a school that housed all three, and you do. In fact, there's a lot of energy efficiencies in that building as well.
Pretty much getting off the grid.
That's great. And how is, real quick before we get some more results, we're still not too far from Hurricane Florence, really devastating to your community. Tell me a little bit about what your recovery process is right now.
Well, first of all, I think we have about 37 that are still out of their homes, and we're doing a good job. We got a lot of people that are volunteers, a lot of ministries, even from the Mennonites to the Samaritan Purse, and some that I don't even know that are there
Right.
doing a lot of work for the citizens. And we also have the filling station there. They're doing a
Yes.
great job for us in
Marion,
Jones
right.
County. And so all the people are working together, and we're trying to expedite everything we can to get get on the fast track to get some money back to help all these people. You know how that is in government.
So following this race, these races here tonight are really important. And my understanding, we do have some results we want to go ahead and share with you. So let's get to the Strickland-Perry Republican race. This is 25 out of 50 precincts reporting. The current tally is Senator Perry at 67%, Mr. Strickland at 32%. I'm sorry? Okay, and for the NC House District 12 Democrat race, we have Mr. Brewer, Deonka Brewer at 36%, Mr. Brown 11%, and Miss Virginia Cox Doughty at 51%. So that race is 14 out of 28, so we're looking like we're getting half of the precincts in right now, Robbie.
Yep.
And we've got Board of Education at large for Lenoir County, Merwin Smith at 38%, Bruce Hill at 30%, and Les Lipford at 30%. And you notice those percentages are so close. It looks like only about 40 votes separate Mr. Hill and Mr. Lipford at this moment. And that's 11 out of 22 precincts are reporting for that race right now. So in Lenoir County, we have 11 out of 22 precincts reporting. And this next one is Lenoir County Board of Education District 3. This is Kimberly Outlaw and Richard Bogan. Same as before. That was 2 out of 4 precincts reporting. I believe those are the same numbers we had before, aren't they? Pretty much. Okay, so well, it looks like we're still waiting on Institute and Vance for that race right there. All right, and this is the Greene County Board of Commissioners District 2. It looks like all precincts are reporting there, and congratulations to Mr. Albert Barron. If we want to put a check by that, that would be great for our graphics team. Congratulations, Mr. Barron, who defeated Barry Anderson, 59% to 40%. And Greene County Board of Education, we have the Republican primary there where you get to choose for 2. So the top 2 go into the general election. We can put a check beside Mr. Rackley and Mr. Johnson. Just double check those numbers before we go final with that. But congratulations to Mr. Johnson at 45% and Mr. Rackley at 31%. And in District 6 for the NC Senate, this is Jones County. And so it looks like earlier we showed you it was 7 precincts, as Mr. Emery was talking about a while ago, waiting on Onslow. So it looks like there's about 24 precincts we're waiting on there. But when it comes to pretty much all of Jones County, it looks like Mr. Lazara we were talking earlier, that 7th precinct really boded well for Mr. Lazara's campaign there. Because you thought there was a chance he would get a little bit more, just based on some of your reading the tea leaves. But we got to get all of Onslow. Now, do you know where these 2 gentlemen are from?
I do not. They're both from out of Onslow County,
Okay.
obviously, and
So they're both from Onslow County, which means that there's a chance they might split a lot of votes in that county.
if it's anywhere close like it was in Jones County, it's going to be pretty tight.
And as we talked earlier, that race is really important to your community. Please make sure that you're liking and sharing this broadcast. And also, if you'll see that some of the tickers at the bottom of the screen, make sure you go to our Instagram page, our Twitter page. Make sure you like and share and you follow us. It really helps understanding what y'all looking for, what type of news you're looking for. So we're constantly monitoring that, constantly following the comments as well. And keep freezing. Okay. I was just reading a comment or two. So look, and appreciate all your comments. In fact, let me just say hey to a few folks. Looks like Phoebe and Frank Emery joined our broadcast.
Oh, how about that?
Looks like you're
She's watching.
Dr. Scott Matthews, thanks for jumping on. Ms. Sue Ella Maddox, thank you. Ivy Cook, maybe my phone, but it mutes. Let's see, the best reporters are here. That's funny. Bill Ellis, thank you for your service to our community. Leon Steele, thank you so much. And Jim Capps, appreciate those nice words. And wow, look at all these comments. Really appreciate all the comments you've got here. Thank you so much. And if you haven't joined our We Report News Facebook group, just go to wereportnewsnews.com. We really encourage you to do that. It's a great place for neighbors to help neighbors. In fact, Mr. Swinson, Mr. Emery, we started that Facebook group because of Hurricane Florence. Mm-hmm. We were in this office one day. Yes, please. And we were in office one day, and basically what we found out was a lot of people were asking us questions about roads closing, flooding, and those sorts of things,
right.
or down power lines, whatnot. And it turned out that for the 2 or 3 people working in our office, it was a lot of questions for us to field. And so we just said, what if we create a group where Robbie had a question, maybe Mr. Emery could help him. Mr. Emery had a question, maybe Mr. Murphy could help him, and John Doe and Sally Sue. And it really started this process of a lot of people just really helping folks, and it's been a lot of fun doing that. We actually have one of our first Twitter graphics here, watching the election results on Noose News. Thank you so much, Ms. Susan Myers. Appreciate using that hashtag election20NN. Thank you so much. Looks like she's pulling for Dan Forrest there. We will get to some of these statewide results here a little bit later. We just wanted to focus, at least on the initial parts of this broadcast, on some of the local races here. Who's this one right here? Miss Allie White, our former intern, all the way from East Carolina. Thank you so much. She said she's watching the results here at ECU and missing her News team. So I miss you, Allie. Really proud of you and all you're doing at the ECU Honors College. So please make sure to tweet your Election 2020 experience to using hashtag Election 2020 NN. Robbie, tell me a little bit about business and what's going on tonight. We got the high school basketball games and all kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how the game's going to turn out. My kids are there. I wanted to be there, and you called and asked me to come in, so here I am. Yeah, you twisted my arm, so I'm here. But I heard the girls won, so that's a good thing for Kinston
High girls won at Randleman, and who were they playing? Randleman?
Randleman, yeah.
Okay, so Kinston High girls won.
Yeah.
Which that would put them in what?
The semifinals at ECU on Saturday night, I think.
That's a big
thing,
opportunity
yeah.
for them. Yeah.
So, yes, keep our
congratulations
fingers-
to Coach Bradshaw.
Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully our boys will be able to join the girls there on Saturday night as well.
And can we get a check on the North Lenore girls? It's 41-28 Farmville at Kinston High School right now. And how much time is left? 4 minutes left in the third. So there's still time for the Kinston High boys to come around. We have a videographer there. Looking forward to seeing some of the shots because Farmville and Kinston got some dunking folks.
Yeah.
And
That's always a good matchup.
68-51 Farmville girls over
North and North.
North Lenore. So unfortunately, that ends the North Lenore girls' incredible season. Wish them the best, but it really is hey, look, to get this far shows an amazing amount of talent and
Absolutely.
skill set. So congratulations to Mr. Respis and the entire coaching staff there at North Lenore. Do we have some more results we'd like to share? Nothing new. Okay, well, when you get a chance, if we can see some of the statewide, just you can kind of draft those. No rush, but we do want to share some of those with our audience. Gee, how much? All right, I'm just going to double check here. Refresh. So right now, across the state of North Carolina, there are 2,670 total precincts. There are 392 that have reported. And we don't have exit poll data here at News, but some of the national outlets were already calling, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, team, but they were already calling the presidential primary, the Democratic primary for Joe Biden, correct, for North Carolina. So, and that was a couple of different national media outlets. So I can't remember how many delegates there were for North Carolina, but it was pretty significant. Do you know how much? 14 delegates? Okay. 114.
Yeah,
I thought
I
it
think
was.
it's 100,
Yeah,
sorry.
114 delegates. So
Maybe
pretty
more.
significant win for Vice President Biden if that comes to fruition. 33-23 Biden over Sanders, early voting numbers across North Carolina. That is interesting. Do we have an update on the U.S. House District 1 race by chance? As Republican primary and included a Kinston resident, Michelle Nix. I'm not sure where these other Jim Glisson, Ethan Baca, and Sandy Smith were from, but I'd like to know an update on that if possible. We would need the district-wide totals for that.
That's Butterfield, I believe, isn't it? Butterfield.
All right, thank you, sir.
Butterfield.
That's right. Mr. Emery was asking, is that the Congressman Butterfield's race? And that is Congressman Butterfield's race. And Robbie, correct me if I'm wrong, but Congressman Butterfield, you and I both know him, talked to him many times over the years. But they changed that with all the congressional maps. They changed that race this year,
Yeah.
that the district considerably.
Yeah, they changed this area of the map as well, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I still think he has a pretty good chance of pulling it out again.
Well, there's no doubt he's got a strong fundraising capability. He's really good friends with President Obama. In fact, he was on stage with Joe Biden the other day, but I think Durham County is taken out of that race. So some of the race, the demographics of that race, the partisanship makeup of that race has changed. But whoever wins the Republican primary still has an uphill battle.
Definitely. Definitely. Have they put a new map out? I haven't seen the latest map. Have you seen it?
The one they're running for
Yeah.
right now? Yes, sir. It's posted on the North Carolina General Assembly's website. They had to publish it. I forgot which one it is because there's several of them. But
Right.
the last one that it says for the 2020 race.
Okay.
So you can see how that looks now. It's pretty interesting. Some of the changes there. So tell me what else is going on in Jones County. What y'all do? Y'all had a commissioners meeting last night.
At the commissioners meeting last night, we had an update on the coronavirus with our health department, letting us know what Jones County was doing, and they seem to be in good shape, and they're on top of it. So they're probably like every other small county. They're looking to get everything they can from the state and federal government and waiting for the information that to come down.
Right. Yeah, pull up the District 1 numbers. We did a story this week about the coronavirus, and what we heard from all the health officials is, look, don't overreact. Keep washing
Right.
your hands, sanitize what you need to. And I've also heard from the president, CDC on down, that wearing masks doesn't seem to really matter. And I'm no expert on this, just reading what I'm seeing from the official government resources. But seems like I've been getting hit with a bunch of Google ads for buying a medical mask. It's like somebody's trying to make some money on that. So it's pretty interesting.
Definitely going up in price.
Yeah, and I heard that North Carolina's got confirmed a case as well. So here is the NC primary election results so far. 84 out of 240 precincts reporting for the U.S. House District 1 race. And the reason why this one is important, I want to make sure we share it with you tonight. One, there is a Kinston resident on this ballot, Michelle Nix, but also this is the congressional seat that represents Olive Green County. And so right now, looks like Republican Sandy Smith, pull that back up just for me real quick. I'm sorry. Sandy Smith is at 77%, Ethan Baca at 5%, Jim Glisson at 7%, Michelle Nix at 9%. So 84 out of 247 precincts reporting. Looks like, and I don't know exactly where all those precincts are, but it looks like she's got a pretty strong foothold on that race so far. Do we have any more updates on the Perry Strickland or the NC House District 12 race by chance? 25 out of 50 still. Okay. All right. That's no problem. That's kind of what we expect that we'll be here. I don't even know what time it is. How long have we been live? It's kind of hard to keep up with all this stuff. Let me think if 50 minutes. I don't want to scare everybody, but the very first time we went live, we were live, Mr. Emery, Ms. Swinson, we were live for 5 hours, guys.
Wow.
I doubt that's going to happen tonight. All right, we got some more Twitter experience popping up on our page. I want to say thank you to Miss Angela Garris. Thank you so much for watching us this evening. Appreciate Waylon Skinner, Richard Daniels, April Aycock. That sounds familiar, doesn't that
I
name?
think I know her.
All right, how do you know Miss Aycock?
She's one of our new board members over there, Miss Haycock, down from around Comfort at one time. Now she's in Pollocksville.
All right, representing the good folks of Pollocksville on the Jones County Board of Commissioners. Thank you so much, Ms. Judy Jones. Appreciate that. See Aletha Thrower. She is our VP of Operations here at News, and she's been under the weather for the last couple of days. I think I've pulled all my hair out and I've got a few grays since she's been out, and she really kind of keeps this ship together. So really appreciate Aletha. Very sorry that she's feeling ill, and really happy that you're staying home and getting some well-deserved rest. Thank you to Jeremy Jacob Rogers 92 for tweeting the hashtag election 2020 NN. Roy Cooper will run up against Dan Forrest for governor. Roy Cooper has my vote. Thank you so much for using our hashtag for that. Linda Rouse Sutton, chair of the Lenoir County Board of Commissioners. Thanks to BJ, the staff and sponsors, and the guests for News. Thank you so much, Commissioner Sutton. And be sure to use the hashtag election 2020 NN as you're on Twitter. And I know everybody's watching us on Facebook, but for those who are on your mobile device, you can switch over and do that. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words, Mr. Humphrey. Appreciate your support. And look, you know, this type of broadcast, if you really could only see, I know Mr. Swinson watched us kind of unfold here this evening.
Yeah.
You got here early. You had a nice barbecue sandwich.
Got here early, underdressed.
I was in a polo earlier, and I said, I got to go change. He said, what are you changing into? So I got to put on a jacket. But you saw kind of what was unfolding, and as awesome as this experience is and the things that we do, it takes money with the lights and the equipment and the incredible team that we've got back there. See Tyndall Davis, who will be on here in a little bit, Christy Bach, Matt Lococo, Dr. Travis Town, the infamous Stephanie Town, and we had Catherine Hardy, and I don't see her here, but I see Gracie Herring was running our Instagram story. She's put her hand up. There she is. Gracie Herring was an intern, has graduated to becoming part of our team. And speaking of internship, I forgot, I didn't mention this. If you are watching and you are at high school or in college, or you have a child or grandchild, a niece, nephew that's in our area that wants an internship, we had an incredible 2019 class. They call themselves the real OGs. I learned a lot of lingo. I learned how to take selfies on Snapchat like the teenagers do. And it was just a great experience for both me as an adult and these youngsters. As you saw, one of them tweeted us a little while ago. One of them is working with PAC TV at NC State University.
Wow. And
Ethan Cahoon's very involved in politics. Parker Mitchell still helps here around the building and does some really cool stuff for us in sports and things. And of course, Gracie's here. But we have announced this past week that we now have the 2020 internship applications are online. Just go to newsnews.com. On the menu, I think it's the first or second button on the menu, and it's all about the 2020 internship. Please be sure to forward that to a friend, a neighbor, a kid, or your grandchild. Let them know this experience is available to them. It's basically 3 months, starting with the barbecue festival to the end of July. And typically about 10 to 20 hours a week. And we do a lot of fun stuff, from video to social media to marketing, to go hang out to college for a day, to working with small business owners. We do a little bit of everything, and it's a really great experience. It's going to be very competitive this year. Can't say yes to everybody, so we really want to make sure you go ahead and get those internship applications in. We have not published a deadline, but I decided this week that we need to cut that off at the end of this month. So we'll run it through the end of March. We'll cut it off. We'll do some interviews and let everybody know the first, second week in April what's going to happen. So go to newsnews.com and check that out. Thank you so much. Do we have some more results? So we've got some NC House District 12. That's the Brewer Brown and Cox Daugherty race. And here they come. And this is how many reporting? 17 of 28. So a few more. We've added 3 more precincts to this. Looks like Ms. Cox Daugherty still has a good lead there, over almost 1,000 votes in that race. I don't know how many total votes possible there are in those last 11 precincts, but that is a pretty commanding lead there. Robbie, what do you think?
yeah, seems pretty comfortable lead for Ms. Daugherty.
What was the other race you had, Matt? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, with that, if we don't mind, Travis, let's go to a quick commercial break. Give Robbie a chance to go pick up his kids. Robbie, any last few words for us here this evening?
Thank you for the opportunity of being here this evening. It's a great experience. First time on live, Facebook Live. You've asked me several times to be on before, and hadn't had the chance to. But I'm really appreciative of the opportunity this evening. Your team has been outstanding. Gracie even gave me some hints on some Instagram stuff I can go and try, so I'm going to do that. But it's always a pleasure being here with you, sir, and your team. And like I said, I couldn't kudos. I mean, hats off to you. You did a fantastic job, and keep doing what you're doing for the community as far as News and keeping everybody involved. You've always had Kinston at heart, and I think it shows all the time.
We really appreciate your service to our community as well. How long have you been serving on Kinston City Council?
About 16 years now.
All right, competing with Mr. Emery over here.
It seems that way. I'm going to keep right on plugging as long as I can.
What'd you say? Oh, I hit my button. Oh, I'm sorry. They were telling me I was leaning up against my microphone. But look, again, thank you. Thank you for your service. Really appreciate you jumping on here. Hopefully you can catch into that game and see the Kinston Vikings come back in the fourth quarter. So you're going to have to text me and let me know what happens. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
And we'll cut to a quick commercial and be right back with a few more updates for you.
Raleigh politicians have just one district, big cities. They push big cities to the front of the economic development line, while small towns are left behind. Rural communities need a voice in Raleigh, and that's Chris Humphrey, small businessman, lifelong Lenoir County resident. Humphrey will fight to create jobs, strengthen public schools, and get rural communities their fair share. Chris Humphrey, a voice and a vote for rural families.
Else to investigate is
About sharing a post from a downtown business in the ebb and flow of how we do. Over the last 3 years at Magic Mile Media, a lot of clients have asked about our ability to do more video work, whether that is to highlight a product that you want to sell, or maybe something as fun as a vlog series. We're really happy to announce that Magic Mile Media is now doing those types of video commercials just for you on social media. All right, and we've got some updated numbers for you. Thank you again to our sponsors, Brooks Pool, Walter Pool Realty, Chris Humphrey, NC House Representative Chris Humphrey, Fox Trail Mini Stores, special thank you to them. Got a chance to do some social media and video work. That last commercial you saw that we did, that Jose and I worked on earlier, is all about being able to say, look, if you got a small business or you're an organization and you need some help with some short videos, or maybe even something a little bit longer like a vlog that you could do on social media, specific for social media, that is something that our team here at Magic Mile Media can do, as well as what you're seeing tonight, which is live streaming and actual production. So whether that's from reunions or graduations or dance recitals, whatever, we have those capabilities here, or Jones County Commissioners, we can do that for you as well. Special thanks to Matrix East PLLC, professional land surveyors, Bannister Fine Gifts, Bruce Bannister and his entire team there in LaGrange. A beautiful facility. If you haven't checked that out, I certainly encourage you to go get some really nice gifts, especially as you're thinking about graduation coming up as well. And King's Restaurant, Joe, Angie, their entire team do a great job in our community, from Barbecue Fest on down, you name it. And I want to say a special thank you to Joe. Some great barbecue sandwiches there tonight. Before I bring up our next results, I just want to say we've got another guest with us today, James Tyndall Davis. Good to see you, sir.
Nice to be here.
All right. So Tyndall is you're kind of a political junkie as well.
I am, yeah.
And Tyndall has done some work with us over the past few months, and I offered a chance to jump on here, and he reached out to me the other day, said, yeah, I'd love to do that.
Absolutely.
And so tell me what you're kind of seeing, some of the tea leaves you're reading in the community and the state of politics here now.
Well, I mean, North Carolina is trending more purple every single day, and I think you're really going to see that come November when we get to these presidential elections, these Senate elections. If you look at the Senate race on the Democratic side, it's kind of a microcosm of what you're seeing in the Democratic Party on the national scale. You've got Erica Smith, who's a very much a liberal, to Cal Cunningham's more moderate, and that's the sort of thing that you're seeing in North Carolina, like you're seeing all over the place. So I'm really following that. On the local front, I think Jim Perry's got a really good shot today. I think he's doing a lot of good work in our community. Chris Humphrey, the same thing. So really watching those and looking forward to some results.
All right. Well, thank you for jumping on. And we've got some updated numbers for the District 7 race that you were just mentioning a while ago. And this is the Senator Jim Perry and Billy Strickland race. All right, and that is right now with 34 of 50 precincts reporting. Senator Perry at 69% to 30%, and that does include some of Wayne County, because Lenoir County only has 22 precincts, I believe. So that does include some of the Wayne County district there, which is Mr. Strickland's home turf. So be curious as we kind of get closer and closer to that 50 precincts reporting number, exactly where this voting count will come. But right now, it looks like Mr. Perry has a pretty good lead going into. So Jim Perry has 57% of votes in Wayne County as of right now. So he's looks like he's doing well. And I know that's going to be tough because, Mr. Emery, you follow politics well, that, Lenoir County is basically 1-2. I mean, I think Wayne County outvotes Lenoir County for this district. So to be a Lenoir County citizen, reaching out and having that type of presence, right now what we're seeing in Wayne County is a pretty strong showing.
Very similar to Jones and Onslow County for us.
That's right. That's right. About 2-1. And it really important. I know. Have y'all talked much about the census there in Jones County?
Well, we're encouraging everybody to get involved and to fill out their census report that's coming out, and I think we're having a lot of good results with that.
It's really important, especially for us in rural eastern North Carolina, that we're making sure that we're filling out these census forms because the representation that we have in Raleigh and Congress have a major impact on, well, not necessarily Raleigh, but that's reflective of the population shift, but certainly what happens in Congress, it does have an impact on us.
And the biggest thing is to get the information out there, the education, and educating the public to the importance of it. And Tim could probably share a little bit on we may even have another seat coming in North Carolina from the census, depending on what they
That's
report.
right. That's very possible. Absolutely. Census is so important to making sure that we're adequately represented in Congress, and it really just gives us one more voice if we can. North Carolina's growing fast, fast.
But it's growing in the metro areas.
That's right.
So as the Charlotte and Raleighs, and this is a trend we've seen for a couple decades or more, as they continue to grow, it means that each representative has to represent the same number of people, more or less, and that means that the geographic area that they cover in Eastern North Carolina is larger, and so that means we have less representation, which is why it's more important, at least in Eastern North Carolina and the further part of the western state, to make sure that we fill out all these census. How do you fill out the census form? Do you go online, or are they going to mail us something this year? Do y'all know?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. There are people that come into these areas from the federal government working for the Census Bureau that kind of enforce the idea that, look, this happens every 10 years. You really need to get on it, make sure your voice is heard. So you can do an online form, paper form, whatever you want to do.
All right, well, that's good. So we'll get more information on that in a little bit. And just on the side note, I do want to get an update on the Kinston High score in a little bit. But we've got some numbers for the District 12 race that we've been following a little bit this evening, pretty closely this evening, actually. And with 26 of 28 precincts reporting, it looks like Miss Cox Doughty is going to run away with this victory with well over, that's 14 percentage points more. That's a 51% in a three-person race, Miss Emery. That's a pretty commanding victory there this evening. The winner of that race will face Representative Chris Humphrey in the November Tuesday, November 3rd general election, and that will certainly be a big contest to see here in our district, which is Lenoir and a little bit of Pitt, the Ayden area. All right, so we got some Lenoir County local races to report on here. Looks like Merwin Smith, looks like he's going to, with 20 of 22 reporting, it looks like he's going to he's certainly the victor in that. He's had a lead there all night, so we can go ahead and put a check by Merwin Smith for that race. Let's hold off a little bit on the second place there, because Mr. Lifford is certainly putting up a challenge to Mr. Hill and has been on his heels all evening. It looks like right now, about 50 votes separate those two, with only 2 more precincts reporting. So we'll certainly keep a close eye on that as the last 2 precincts come in this evening. For the District 3 school board seat, it looks like with the 3 of the 4, we went from 2 to now 3 of the 4 precincts reporting. It looks like Miss Outlaw is going to become the victor there. Certainly, I don't know. What's that last precinct? Do we know how many voters are in that last precinct by chance? I'll be curious about that. Institute, how many eligible votes are in Institute? Okay, 0. Just so we don't know exactly without doing a little bit more digging. But it looks like Miss Outlaw will become the victor there. We just got to see what happens in that last precinct for Institute. What was the next one? So we talked about this earlier, but the finals in Greene County, congratulations, Mr. Albert Barron, for the Democratic primary for Board of Commissioners District 2. Congratulations to you, Mr. Barron. So we make sure we publish that on our social media channels, that graphic right there, congratulating him. And the Board of Education in Greene County as well, Joey Rackley, 31% is the winner. And Brandon Johnson, this was where you could vote for 2, is also the winner, the top vote getter, 45% there. So congratulations to those 2 gentlemen. Again, let's take that graphic team and post that out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Really would appreciate that as well. And I know Gracie Herring is doing a great job with our Instagram story this evening. If you're not keeping up with our Instagram story, it is a lot of fun. It's different. It's behind the scenes more so than you get to see on regular social media. So please make sure you're following us on Instagram. It's at Noose News. And feel free to make comments, tag us in posts. Let us know if you have a story idea you want us to follow up on. And we've got a great team of photographers, videographers, reporters who would love to help report the story is happening in our backyard. The District 6. So this is the Senator Brown seat, 12 of 31 reporting there. The last report was, what were we at, 10 of 31? I can't remember. But it looks like Mr. Lazara still got that's close to 2,000 votes, but Onslow County is such a big county.
That's true. Richlands is a big, has a lot of votes. Just that one.
No significant numbers from Onslow being reported just yet, Mr. Emery. But I know that's really important to you. We have a final for the Kinston High School basketball game against Farmville Central. 68-53, Farmville Central. I really hate that. Well, congratulations to Coach Tyndall and the entire team. They've had an incredible season. I know they want to be able to play at ECU this week. Congratulations to the Kinston High School girls, who will be the only local team advancing in the high school arena this weekend. Really hate that for the boys, and looking forward to seeing what some of these seniors decide to do. There's at least one senior I know that's got a really good chance to playing at the next level, so looking forward to seeing what Isaac Parson does with his decision. I want to say again, thanks to Brooks Poole with Walter Poole Realty. As I mentioned earlier, he has certainly been one of the top real estate agents here when it comes to when you're thinking about this, as somebody I would call when you're thinking about buying a home or commercial property, and whether that is no matter how much money you're talking about, the listing, it doesn't really matter. He wants to hear from you, because he said, when we talked earlier, he said, look, sellers at all price points, and his goal was to provide our clients with a hassle-free experience by simplifying the process of real estate transactions. Just give Brooks a call at 526-8756. That's 252-526-8756. And let Brooks Poole, let Brooks know that Noose News sent you. Again, it's Brooks Poole at Walter Poole Realty, 252-526-8756. Do we have the ability, team, to start pulling up some of these statewide or national results just yet? Yeah, we do. We're about to start getting some of those in. Okay, and real quick, thank you to everybody who's watching us on Facebook Live. If you are watching this and you've enjoyed the broadcast, I think that the team has done, not me, but our team and everybody behind the scenes have done a great job. Throw a few hearts up there for them. Just let them know that you recognize that they've been working really hard to get these numbers as fast as you possibly can. I see Christy Bach, Matt Lococo, Dr. Travis Town, Stephanie Town, and Gracie Herring in the background there. You can't see her, but behind Christy is Catherine Hardy at the desk there working on a story. So thank you for all those hearts. I really appreciate you knocking on all those hearts there. The team really appreciates everything that you do. Please like and share and make comments on this broadcast as you've seen earlier this evening. So what was that latest, what we're doing, team? The District 7 race. 48 of 50 reporting. We can call that for Senator Jim Perry, team. Go ahead and put a big check mark beside his name as we did the others. Congratulations to Senator Perry on that victory. It's basically a 2-1 victory there, Mr. Emery. Pretty strong showing, especially when you think about how much of that district is in Wayne County.
Exactly. He's doing a good job.
Have you had a chance to interact with Mr. Perry?
I have not met Mr. Perry personally yet, but I've heard a lot of good comments about him. Well, excuse me. We've had an opportunity to get to know Mr. Perry over the years, and he does have a Democrat opponent on the general election ballot.
I believe her name is Donna Blake, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right, yep.
And so, but that, as in some other districts, some lean more towards Republican, some lean more towards districts, some are right smack in the middle, kind of like the whole state of North Carolina is. That is a district that does lean Republican, but hey, look, I mean, it is a seat that, I can speak for it. You never take your seat for granted. You got to keep
Exactly.
working for
Exactly.
it, right? If you want to serve. And so, congratulations to Mr. Perry. Team, please, when we can publish that if you want to, or we can wait till we have 50 of 50 reporting. But congratulations to Senator Jim Perry for his win on holding on to his seat. He actually did not run for office for that seat. He was appointed.
That's right. So this is the first time, come November, this will be the first time that he is really going to come up with a real election fight. Where he was appointed before, this is where he's really going to have the chance to connect with the voters, do some retail politicking, and let them decide whether he needs to be there or not. This was a pretty high-profile race between Strickland and Perry. I don't know about you, but I got about 50,000 pieces of mail over the course of the last 2 months. So from all of us with mailboxes, I'm glad this race is over. But no, this was a good win for Perry. I think it's gives him a bit of a mandate going into November.
That is so. Congratulations to you, Senator Perry, and thank you, Mr. Strickland, for running. I say this all the time. It is not easy putting your name on the ballot, is it, Mr. Emery?
It's correct. It's a lot of hard work.
And I told someone the other day who was running for office. I said you find out really quickly who your friends are,
You really do.
because some people will surprise you. And the trick to it and being and serving and think about that is not taking it personally, although you kind of want to at times. It's to understand that some things are just out of your control, and that person isn't the one you need to go get. You need to go get the next person
You
and just
go,
keep working.
Go to the next door, keep on plugging. That's what you have to do. Meet the people.
Right. And more importantly, once you get in office, if you're given that opportunity, to remember that the person who didn't vote for you is still somebody you represent.
Exactly right.
I think that is something that's lost far too often when it comes to politics. You're constantly placating to the base and forgetting the idea that, hey, only 51% of the people voted for you. There's another 49% out there who didn't. And so you got to prove to them that they should next time if you choose to run again.
Well, it's not a party after you're elected. It's the people that you represent.
That's right.
Whichever party that is, it doesn't matter.
You're
You
all
just
one
represent the
team.
people.
Right.
Mhm.
That is,
Be a
that is
team
right.
player with it.
Absolutely. What other? We got some more. All right, we're really close to some more. I wanted to say that I mentioned it earlier that okay, we got some. Okay, we got some early numbers for the governor's race. Well, we know Cooper's going to win that. You can go ahead and put a check mark by that. I didn't. I forgot why. I don't even know why.
Feel pretty good about
Well, I
that,
mean, it's
right?
like I didn't allow the Trump race because you know he's going to win. But it is interesting to see how many votes are cast there. But you can put a check mark by him. What was the next one you said? Okay, 1 second. Oh yeah, this is the Republican primary for governor. Oh wow, that is a big margin. Let's go ahead and put a check mark by Dan Forrest on that. I don't see any way that Ms. Grange could overcome those odds, even with 1,800 more precincts possible reporting. Dan Forrest is our current lieutenant governor on the Republican side. It's an interesting dynamic in North Carolina, where unlike the president, vice president, who the president picks his running mates, and then they run together. In North Carolina, it is you run for governor, you run for lieutenant governor, and we've got a position right now for our state that you have a Democratic governor with his administration, and you have a lieutenant governor who sits on some boards and chairs some important boards, basically pretty much chairs the Senate proceedings, but doesn't necessarily work in conjunction with the governor's office.
Separate, but together.
Yeah, it's
Kind of
very
works in opposition with the governor's office and a lot of, and
Right.
you're kind of seeing that with this. Dan Forrest is going to go and run against Roy Cooper.
Right.
That's going to be a really interesting race to watch in November.
It is, and I will tell you that it may be popular or unpopular. It doesn't matter to me. I think our system in North Carolina on choosing that is not the way it should be. I mean, granted, every position that you give the people more of a voice, I understand, I get that. But right now, you're talking about the two highest levels of people in our government are competing against each other. And how does government really get to work when those two people are competing against each other constantly? And part of the same branch of government.
That's right.
I mean, it's not a House and Senate and executive branch. You've got basically two branches of the executive branch competing against each other.
Very reminiscent of how we used to do president and vice president.
Yeah.
You know, the runner-up in presidential elections would become the vice president.
Right.
Didn't last long because we figured out pretty quick that doesn't work well. So
I know that was left field, but I think about it every once in a while, going, man, we just got that one backwards, in my opinion. Now, some scholars will be out there and look, if you disagree with me, write a letter to the editor. It's letters@newsnews.com. And speaking of newsnews.com, look, for everybody that advertises with us, whether that's in the News newsletters, our daily email, please subscribe to that. It's free. 100% of what we do is free, but it's free because we have some corporate sponsors, more or less, who decide to chip in to help with the marketing and the branding of their business, but also to help us report what's happening. So thank you everybody who's sponsoring and advertising for us in our newsletters, our daily newsletter, but also everybody who sponsors not only this broadcast, but our website as well at newsnews.com. Please, if you don't mind, as you're reading some stories, click on a few of those ads, whether it's for Google or for the hospital or you name it, for a dentist. I mean, just click, go eat at the El Nuevo San Juan. I mean, we want you to click on these, take advantage of these deals that small businesses in our community are helping to fund the transactions. What we're doing here at News, fund what we're trying to do here, so that we can bring you this free service. So if you agree with that, just send us an email at info@newsnews.com if you got somebody you'd like to send us our way, and be sure to join our Facebook group. We report News. Is it possible for us to put we report newsnews.com across the bottom, Travis, when you get a chance? No rush. Just thought about it. Do we have some more? We have some more results that we've got. Okay. We're working on the governor's race. Right. It is scrolling. Okay. Good. I just want to make sure I didn't lose my place on anything. All right. We also have some updates on the Democratic race for lieutenant governor. So this is you can see a crowded field of contestants there, with 1,011 precincts out of 2,670 reporting. It looks like Miss Yvonne Lewis Holly at 24%, Terry Van, I'm going to get that last name wrong, Dine, 22%, and Alan Thomas at 20%, and then Chaz Beesa, 18%. I mean, so there are 6 percentage points between the top four vote getters there. That is a very tight race, certainly too soon to call at our level. We don't know exit polling, but I don't know if they do much exit polling data for NC Lieutenant Governor.
Maybe not.
The national media doesn't serve their interests that well, but it is important to us here in North Carolina. Do we have the primary election results for the NC Lieutenant Governor on the Republican side by chance? We're working on that as we speak, but that is a very close race. It's interesting. When people think of Democrat Alan Thomas, because where we live, they think of the former mayor of Greenville.
That's right.
And there was even, I think the Greenville news media even did a story about that, or Pirate Radio, or somebody did, about there really are two Alan Thomases in the state. That Alan Thomas actually, I think, has a connection with ECU, but he lives somewhere else.
Even his campaign sign looked very similar.
It did. I for the longest time, I
I
really
thought-
thought
I thought
Alan
this
Thomas
was
was running
it
for lieutenant governor. And one thing to say about that crowded field, we may run into an issue where nobody gets a majority, and then you get a runoff election, and then so we've got to have that probably come summertime. So that's a very real possibility.
Just want to tip my hat to the Lenoir County Board of Elections, because we've given them a fit the last 2 or 3 election shows that we've done. And for the record, the polls officially closed at 8:10 p.m. and they had all their results in by 8:50. So a little tip of the hat to Lenoir County Board of Elections, to the new director and the team there. I know it's a big effort to get this. And our team got together, we prayed before we got on here tonight. But one thing that we talked about as a team was, as we publish this data tonight, it is very important for us to be 100% accurate in what we do, because I don't want a slide that's up here that's wrong or misspelled somebody's name. I mean, if somebody misspelled my name, it hurt my feelings a little bit. I mean, if we got somebody's number, it should have been 57 or instead of 75. That's a big difference in how the outcomes are. So it's really important to get it right. So I appreciate how diligently our Jones County and Greene County, Lenore County Board of Elections directors and their teams work to make sure that we get accurate data so that we can then turn around and report to you. So there's part of our broadcast crew there. Pull that up again real quick, Travis. And you can see, if I pause and I'm listening to my ears, because you're seeing Matt Lococo back there doing this in a walkie-talkie because he's in my ear. But special thanks to Dr. Travis Town, Chief Engineer, Matt Lococo, Stephanie Town, Christy Bott, Gracie Herring, and didn't mention earlier because he wasn't back there, but Brandon Potter was a big part of us being able to pull off some of this. So special thanks to our Chief Creative Officer this evening. And we now have a Republican primary for Lieutenant Governor. This is another big race here across the state of North Carolina. Mark Robinson, who is got real big fame across this state for his gun rights activism. It looks like he's running away with this. Second place is Senator Andy Wells. I got to know Senator Wells over the last 2 or 3 years. And then John Ritter and Mark Johnson, looks like they are all tied. John Ritter and Mark Johnson. And does that Mark Johnson that's currently serving for the school superintendent?
Yes, that's right.
So he ran for lieutenant governor, and it looks like he is going to lose that seat this year. So not ready to call it for Mark Robinson, but I don't see anybody coming across those odds because how many votes are going to be split over the next few. I don't know how the Mecklenburg County, where's Mark Robinson from? Which county? From Greensboro. Well, let's let me know if you see the Mecklenburg County results come in, because that will probably play a big role in what happens in that race.
Definitely.
You think so, Mr. Emery?
Another crowded field there.
It is crowded field. But it's interesting because lieutenant governor, to most citizens, it doesn't seem like the lieutenant governor does anything, but the lieutenant governor has a very important role in a lot of statewide boards and commissions. And you can see Dan Forrest has made it his own seat. He's really elevated the level of the role that lieutenant governor
He's
plays
been very, very visible. And,
I believe he's
traditionally-
also the tiebreaker
Yep.
too in the
in the Senate.
Mhm,
Yeah, I think he actually cast a vote. So to my point earlier, that is part of the argument against it.
Right.
That if he was part of the same party as our governor, Roy Cooper, then you wouldn't hear his name or know what he's doing as much. That is very true. So I'm going to argue against my own position. I'm still going to lay my head down and go, I still think they should be on the same ticket.
BJ's going to die on this hill.
I will die on this hill with nobody behind me. I'm fine with that. All right, so we've got some more results for us. So this is the final. We're calling the race for Kimberly Outlaw. She has successfully ousted the incumbent Board of Education member, Richard Bogan. Congratulations to Mr. Outlaw. Thank you for your service, Mr. Bogan, who will serve out the remainder of his term unless other things unforeseen. But spoke to him last night. He really loves his role. And so congratulations to him for running. And congratulations to Ms. Outlaw for winning that seat. So let's post that graphic too, team. All right, the next race. All right, this is a final. This was a close race this evening. Merwin Smith with 39%. Congratulations, sir. And we are calling it for Bruce Hill, the incumbent, held off the really close challenger, Les Lipford, at 2687 votes to 2559. That is almost 130 some votes there. So very close race. Congratulations, Mr. Hill, and thank you, Mr. Lipford, for your service to our country. He's a veteran, retired veteran, and also for willingness to step up and serve the citizens, our school, our young people in this community. final numbers again for the. We didn't have the final numbers. We did call it earlier for the. Let's post that graphic, team, instead of the other one. Just to confirm that. Senator Jim Perry did win that race. Looks like Tyndall, if I'm not mistaken, he doubled him up on the almost doubled him
Just
up
about.
on the total number of votes. So commanding victory there for Senator Jim Perry over Mr. Strickland. With 26 to 28 reporting, I'm fine with calling that race, but I don't want to publish the graphic until we get those last two precincts. Do we know what those last two precincts are by chance? They just came in. But Ms. Cox Daugherty is still holding the commanding lead there as well. One thing that a lot of people don't know, Mr. Emery, is that this is a party primary, but if there's a lot of unaffiliated voters. So if you're an unaffiliated voter, you can walk up to the voting booth and say, I want to vote in this race, or I want to vote in this one. But you have to, once you pick one party, you have to vote that entire ballot.
You know, a lot of people will pick the party that they oppose to and choose them in the primary so that they can have a candidate that would be the weakest candidate that their candidate can run against, which is probably going on right now in the presidential and a lot of stuff.
Right.
But we have a mixed system where you can choose your ballot, and there's problems with that, obviously, like we
Right.
talked about here. But it really dissuades people from picking a party affiliation, which makes us traditionally hard to poll when it comes to party politics. So,
Right.
if I might be a conservative, but I'm going to be unaffiliated, so I can vote in whatever primary I want to.
Right. It really is. It really has made the two-party system kind of challenging for us because the heart of our state is really in who those unaffiliated voters are, because they're the ones who really can swing the tide. If you look at the election registrations, the voter registrations, the number of unaffiliated voters has just skyrocketed over the last decade. And so we got some updated and final numbers for the Cox Daugherty race. Congratulations to Miss Virginia Cox Daugherty with your victory over Mr. Brewer, Mr. Brown. So congratulations to her. I actually went to school with her daughter. And that's been a minute. But congratulations to Ms. Cox Daugherty, who will then face Representative Chris Humphrey for his seat. And looking forward to seeing more about that race as it unfolds. Mr. Emery, in your experience at this point, as some of these races are called, and some people even call to concede, and the victors go home, they party, and then they sleep well tonight. They wake up tomorrow. When does their race really begin? Do they do it tomorrow, or do they take a couple of days and kind of figure out what they got to do
Well,
next?
they're probably trying to figure all out what's going on, what's happened to them for all the time they put in it, and so they probably got to take a few days to get the thoughts back together and then get the marching orders going.
And I would imagine, Tyndall, you're going to have to check your mailbox come about August, September.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they're going to be
it's gonna
coming.
Round
Again,
two.
It's going to
Round
be
two.
worse. It's going to be worse. You know, you were talking about unaffiliated. I was just looking here. There's about 3,954 if you combine Republicans in Jones County and the unaffiliated versus 3,123 for just Democrats. So
Wow.
that has made a big difference in Jones County. I know years ago when I first ran, there weren't a lot of Republicans there. That's
right.
And so, that has really changed. And a lot of people are switching from Dems to Repub and vice versa. But there's a lot going on. So there's a lot of pull when you talk about the unaffiliated coming in.
Right.
So they can swing a lot of different votes a lot of different ways.
And if it's been a while since you jumped on, we have with us right now the chairman of the Jones County Board of Commissioners, Frank Emery, who's served for 14 years now, and Tyndall Davis, who's a News contributor, has helped us a little bit on the sales side. We talked a little bit more on the opinion, the letters to editor side as well. With us here this evening, we had earlier Catherine Hardy with News, a correspondent who's working on a story about these elections right now. And also, I was thinking, Catherine, let's put in some of these graphics that we got in that story. Then we've got some graphics to go along with it. That'd be a nice little touch. She's giving me the evil eye right now. And also, we had Kansas City Councilman Robbie Swinson here earlier as well. So thank you to Councilman Swinson for coming on. So we've got some more results here. I've heard people in my ear a while ago. Okay, so we do have the House of Representatives District 1, the Republican race, 184 out of 247 precincts there, 60-some precincts remaining. Certainly can call this race for Sandy Smith. And I don't know Miss Smith that well, but I've heard her name mentioned a lot. I think she was running against Tom Tillis, and then this district changed. And so she decided to jump in this race. And of course, you see, pull that back up for me one more time just so I can see a little bit better. My eyes are getting a little bit older for me. I'm sorry, Travis. But Kinston local Michelle Nix, who's the former vice chair of the statewide Republican Party, at 10% for that race. But we heard Councilman Swinson earlier. I mean, he certainly wants G.K. Butterfield to continue with that race, but he also admit that the dynamics of that district have changed, which is why you probably see 4 people in the Republican Party running for this seat now, versus usually it was one of those races that nobody serious was really running.
Right.
But those who ran say, well, that's not fair to me. But nobody who was really serious about politics was really running for that seat because they
Right.
knew the odds were insurmountable.
Butterfield's an institution and has been in that area for a long, long time. So,
Right.
But with the changing map, it does open it up to challengers like this. So,
And what was the other result that we had, team? Okay. Well, I do have a story. My first venture into politics, I was 25. I mean, I'm like, how crazy was I at 25 to run for mayor of Kinston? And I lost. Of course I lost. Everybody expected me to lose, but I did really well considering the numbers and percentages. And it was like a day or two after the election was over, and my phone rings, and the guy on the other end of the phone, he says, "Hey, this is Congressman G.K. Butterfield. Never spoken to this man in my life, never seen him, never met him, never shook his hand, but he called to say, you obviously represent your town really well. The people there, even at 25, really love and respect you." And his advice to me at that moment was, I've never forgotten, it's 14, 15 years ago, was that the people who were willing to vote for me then will most likely vote for me whenever I run ever again. And he said, that is your base.
That's what you build on.
And that was, it was such an important lesson for me because, I mean, I didn't expect to win, but I worked really hard to win. I wanted to win bad. And it was a big part of the reason why it was part of me thinking, could I actually do this and could I win? And him telling me that was one of those little things that was always stuck in my head as to how I should look at politics and people and do they really support you or not. And it was a great phone call. Great phone call.
It's a good opportunity.
Yeah, and so I guess my point really is, as someone who's in leadership still and to some degree, and you yourself serving in leadership, what you say to young people is really important and how it shapes what they think and what they end up doing, which is why we're so passionate about the internship that we're doing this summer. It's really important. So with that, Tyndall, tell me a little bit about what else is going on in the community. As you've seen, I know you've been fairly active. I know you had a great Christmas parade with Pride of Kinston. I know you were heavily involved in that. What are some other things that you're working on here lately?
Oh gosh, so it's probably better to go through the things I'm not involved with at the moment. But just off the top of my head, obviously a ton of great momentum here in Kinston, 100%. Currently doing some work with the CSS News Interpretive Center. We're celebrating our 5-year anniversary this year, so we're planning on some events for that. I had a chance to talk to Jan Parson over at Tourism Authority today and see some of the work they're doing in their new offices. Looks fantastic.
Right.
And, of course, working with Pride of Kinston. And because that's really what Pride of Kinston is all about, is finding pride in your community. And we've got a lot of things to be proud of here, and especially downtown and in this community.
I agree. A lot of things to be really proud of. We have some presidential. Okay, so this is statewide presidential numbers for the Democrat Party. As you can see, with 1299 to 2670 reporting. This is part of the reason why the exit polling was showing Joe Biden. Why they were calling Joe Biden, North Carolina for Joe Biden before we even got the absentee numbers in. who knew that Tulsi Gabbard was still in the race? I
Really
haven't
not
heard
many
her name
people
in
at
like 3 weeks.
0.5%.
But Joe Biden with 37%, certainly we can call him the winner. We're pretty sure of that. But let's don't put out the final graphic till later. Senator Bernie Sanders at 24%. Mike Bloomberg at 14%. I mean, he has spent a tremendous amount of money, personal money on this race. Elizabeth Warren, who it looks like from this, looks like Bernie Sanders is taking some of the wind out of her sails. And Mike Bloomberg is really pulled from some of those candidates who were out.
Yep.
It looks like.
He's
And look,
going. He's
you know,
going past Elizabeth.
And looking at this graphic, Biden and Sanders right now are the only two candidates out of that field that are going to reach that 15% viability threshold.
Right.
So they're the only two that are going to be getting statewide delegates.
That-
They're going
and-
to be getting congressional delegates along the way, but those statewide delegates have to have that 15% viability threshold.
To my team who's been telling me that in my ear, I'm like, hey, I got the expert right here. He's right here. But the point was, you know, that you've got to hit 15% to get any
right.
delegates. That's really important. And this is Super Tuesday, so we're one of 14 states participating today.
And the last 48
All right.
hours of this primary have been crazy.
They have, haven't they?
Truly fascinating.
And then the NC, we got some more numbers out of Onslow County, the NC Senate District 6, which we put Jones County just so we know for our area, but it's Jones and Onslow. Michael Azera looks like he's got a commanding lead with only 9 precincts left reporting. Just don't know enough about those precincts to go, hey, Mr. Williams might live in one of those precincts, so it could really change it. But to me, a 2-1 lead with a third of the precincts remaining seems kind of hard
It
to
does.
overcome.
It really does.
So it looks like that will fall to his. Now, is there a Democratic challenger in that race?
Yes, there is. I do not know who it is.
Okay. So we expect to learn more about this race as the summer months unfold, and we'll report the final numbers on that as we get them as well. I just want to recap for my notes because I have not done. We've called the Greene County Board of Commissioners District 2 race. We've called the Greene County Board of Education race, and we have called the Board of Education, Lenoir County Board of Education District 3 race. We have called the Lenoir County Board of Education at large race as well. And we've called the NC House District 12 race for Miss Virginia Cox Daugherty. And we've called the Lenoir County Senate District 7 race for Senator Jim Perry. So for the all but one of the local races, besides that's NC Senate District 6 race, we've been able to call for you tonight. So we'll be on the air just for a little bit longer, just to kind of recap some of these other ones, because I'm curious about. Okay, because the team, I just you're talking about the update on the Senate race for District 6. You've got some updates on that. The one we just. Oh, the U.S. Well, Travis, let's go to break real quick, because when we come back, I want to discuss the U.S. Senate race, which was the Democratic primary between Erica Smith, Steve Swinson, Cal Cunningham, Trevor Fuller, Atul Goel. I'm sorry, that's awful. And then the U.S. Senate race, which featured the current Senator Tom Tillis and some others. We're going to talk about those races and give you some more final numbers on NC governor and lieutenant governor races. When we get back from this break, we'll look at those numbers, and then we'll close out the evening. Thank you so much. Please stay with us.
Raleigh politicians have just one district, big cities. They push big cities to the front of the economic development line, while small towns are left behind. Rural communities need a voice in Raleigh, and that's Chris Humphrey, small businessman, lifelong Lenoir County resident. Humphrey will fight to create jobs, strengthen public schools, and get rural communities their fair share. Chris Humphrey, a voice and a vote for rural families.
Something else to investigate is
Not sharing a post from event time in the ebb and flow of how we. Over the last 3 years at Magic Mile Media, a lot of clients have asked about our ability to do more video work, whether that is to highlight a product that you want to sell, or maybe something as fun as a vlog series. We're really happy to announce that Magic Mile Media is now doing those types of video commercials just for you on social media.
something else to investigate is
Not sharing a post from event time in the ebb and flow of how we. Over the last 3 years at Magic Mile Media, a lot of clients have asked about our ability to do more video work, whether that is to highlight a product that you want to sell, or maybe something as fun as a vlog series. We're really happy to announce that Magic Mile Media is now doing those types of video commercials just for you on social media. For sticking with us, really appreciate Chairman Emery from Jones County being with us as well. In fact, I've got a request for a race. I am about to check on that. And there was a question about judges. There are certainly some other important races across the state, maybe even our area, but with the manpower and the graphics and everything that goes into it, we had to call it at a certain point of which races we were actually going to do. But anyway, we will if our team will copy and paste the link to the State Board of Elections website and the results in the comments. That would be great. Then that way, if somebody's got a question about a specific race that we haven't been able to get to, we would be happy to help them. But there was a question about a Council of State race for labor. I'm going to pull that up while I'm right here. Commissioner of Labor. So Commissioner of Labor for the Commissioner of Labor race. And there is a Republican. I was just looking to see if there was a Democrat primary for that as well. Do you see a Democrat primary for that?
I believe so. Let me look on my.
I just want to double check that. But on the Republican ballot, and I'm sorry just because I'm looking at this live in real time, the NC Commissioner of Labor Republican race, vote for one. There have been 1,632 precincts of 2,670. So about 800 or so precincts still, about close to 1,000 precincts still out.
No Democratic primary.
So no Democrat primary there, but there will be a general election, correct?
Yes, there will be.
But in the Republican primary for Commissioner of Labor, it looks like Josh Dobson has 40.86% of the vote, and Chuck Stanley has 37.99% of the vote, and Pearl Burris Floyd, I don't see her being able to overcome this. She's only at 21%, so it's about 41% to 38 to 21. So it really is a close race between Josh Dobson and Chuck Stanley. So to those who send me a message asking me about that, that's where we are on that. On that race. Let's see, just making sure I didn't miss anything. Do we have any other results? Yeah, there's the link if you want to go pull. I will tell you that in my experience, you got to know which races you're looking for and understanding whether or not you're looking at the county or the entire district. So there are some nuances on that. Okay. All right. We've got updates on the U.S. Senate, both Republican and Democrat race here. So let's pull those up on the Democrat side. Now this says 1408. I just saw that the latest I have 1632. So if you don't mind refreshing that, but at 1408, it was Cal Cunningham. It looks like he's running away with this at 57%. I mean, there's 5 people running. He's got 57%.
Erica Smith and Cal Cunningham going into this were sort of the two favorites, and they kind of act as a microcosm for what's going on for the Democratic Party at large.
Right.
Erica Smith much more progressive, Cal Cunningham much more moderate. So,
and I watch CNN and Fox News interchangeably, and I was watching or listening to Fox News yesterday, and I heard a Cal Cunningham commercial, and I was like, "Wow!" So here's a guy who's stating his commercial. I want to support Obamacare, and I'm a Democrat, and I was like, well, this I like somebody putting money into that, because it really shows you his intent, what he's trying to do.
That's right.
And that he's not ashamed of his positions, and so it looks like that's going to be a tough race. But who will he run against? And that is on the Republican side, most likely Tillis. And here are the updated numbers that I just asked the team to put together. See how awesome our team is. I asked for it, and it's less than a minute later they've got it. With an extra 200 precincts in, Cal Cunningham still at 57% to 34%. So he is definitely going to win that race hands down. So congratulations to him. And do we have the Republican side of that just yet? Updating those with the 1632 precincts reporting. And we won't stay on air too much longer. We will recap the ones that we do have. Someone asked, what about the NC Secretary of State? So let me pull those up. NC Secretary of State. On the Republican side, E.C. Sykes has close to 42%. Chad Brown has close to 39%, so about 3 percentage points difference there. With 1696 reporting now, Michael LaPaglia with just under 20% reporting there. So a very tight race between Sykes and Brown for the Republican NC Secretary of State. I don't see, so there must not be a primary election for the Democrat side of that race. Let me see if I wish you were reporting Dubuque County too. Yeah, sorry, we can't cover every county. They are important, but we can't cover everybody just yet. But feel free to check the link. Looks like Christy Bach with our News team posted the link to the Board of Elections website for the results. In the NC primary election results for U.S. Senate, Tom Tillis run away with this. Certainly we can call that for him at 78%, but we fully expected that.
absolutely. And come November, I think Tom Tillis has actually got a bit of a fight, especially against Cal Cunningham. Again, North Carolina moving more and more into that purple lane. And I think you're going to start to see these Republican senators that we have, obviously Senator Burr and Senator Tillis, going to get some pushback.
Well, and let's talk about that just for a second, because it was interesting. President Obama won North Carolina, and then Trump won North Carolina. And the year Trump won, the president won, the gubernatorial candidate, Pat McCrory, on the Republican ticket, lost to Democrat Roy Cooper. And so it's interesting that this year you've got Roy Cooper on the ballot again, Trump on the ballot again, and it looks like Roy Cooper and Dan Forest going to have a really a big battle, and then you've got a big battle for the U.S. Senate seat. So it looks like between the governor, U.S. Senate, and president, it's going to drive a lot of people to the polls this November.
That's right. Turnout's going to be extremely high, regardless of who the nominee is on the Democratic side for president. It's going to be a very overperforming year at the polls. And that kind of ballot splitting that we had, where we had the Republican president win here, but a Democratic governor, that's very rare. A presidential candidate is supposed to bring those down ballot races with him. So the fact that Trump didn't bring McCrory on his coattails really either speaks to how much North Carolinians didn't like McCrory, or like Trump, but like Roy Cooper more.
In the same year that Dan Forrest won his lieutenant
That's right.
governor's
So,
race.
Again, mixed bag here in North Carolina.
Very, very mixed bag. You were in my ear just a second ago, and honestly, I could not hear you. For the U.S. House District 1, which includes all of Greene County, this was the Republican primary for this. Sandy Smith, I think she was at 77% last time we pulled this up, but with more precincts reporting, she's steady right there. She's definitely going to run away with that. So we'll be interesting to see her race against G.K. Butterfield here later this year. So she carried, Sandy Smith carried Greene County with 72% of the vote.
Wow.
So the folks there in Greene County really loved Sandy Smith, or she got them out to the polls. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything else. The NC governor race for Dan Forrest, Holly Grange, we call that for Dan Forrest. NC governor, Democrat Roy Cooper. Can we pull back the NC lieutenant governor for both the Republican and the Democrat? Can we get an update on that with some of the new numbers? And while we're waiting on that, let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Any word on Mark Johnson? Yeah, we reported on Mark Johnson race earlier. That was the lieutenant governor race.
On the
wasn't it?
Republican side.
Yeah, we're going to pull that up in a little bit. But the question from Ivy Cook was, okay, yeah, we'll refresh those numbers. But Mark Johnson was about 4th to 5th place, if my memory served me correct. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. We're tied for 4th place pretty much.
And Mark Johnson, a pretty controversial figure, especially in the education community. Very rarely do you ever hear about the superintendent of public instruction in North Carolina, but he has made quite a name for himself among educators, and not in the best way possible.
Right.
So these results, he kind of used this as a catalyst to run for bigger and better things. I don't think it's panning out for him the way he thought it would.
I certainly understand that. And Cooper, exactly. Merwin Smith and Bruce Hill. Thanks for all the support. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for watching. Congratulations to you, sir. Congratulations on securing your seat. Let's see. Pratt. Durham County is the only reason. Okay. All right. Not for us. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any other questions. There was a question earlier. I just can't tell how long ago it was. A question mark with Jim Perry. Jim Perry's won that seat, and we're about to pull up some lieutenant governor numbers here in a minute. Some of your comments have made me chuckle live. So much that I turn red, and I should not be reading some of these things. So I really appreciate your comments, and that is the really cool thing about doing this Facebook Live. Is that you can add comments and we can respond to those. So thank you for everybody who's not only liked the broadcast or shared the broadcast, but actually taken the time and done a few hearts, and also actually made some comments, because it's actually helped our broadcast a little bit better. So thank you so much. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. If you don't mind, tag some of the candidates that you've seen win, just as a way to let them know that News was reporting live, and also to kind of thank our sponsors, Walter Pool Realty, Brooks Pool, Chris Humphrey for NC House, Fox Trail Mini Storage, Matrix East Professional Land Surveyors, Bannister Fine Gifts, and King's Restaurant. If you don't mind, throw a few hearts up for our sponsors here this evening. They've done an incredible job being able to allow us to be able to afford this broadcast. So thank you all. Please support. Tim, just go like this with your finger, that way.
This way.
Please,
This way.
you
Here we
kind of go up and
There
go
we
down.
go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Please support all of those advertisers. If you don't mind, we really would appreciate it. I just lost my camera. But we still have audio, if I'm not mistaken. Will you type that on the screen? We're pulling up the numbers. If you're still with us, we're pulling up the numbers for NC Lieutenant Governor right now. And for the Democrat race, we had a close race between Holly Thomas. For the NC Lieutenant Governor, we had Mark Robinson. I remember was well ahead of Andy Wells, and I don't remember mentioning Renee Elmer's name in that first time we did the graphic. Yeah, because she is polled so low.
Right.
So the latest number right now is Mark Robinson's at 33%, Andy Wells at 14%, John Ritter at 11%, but Mark Johnson's actually in third now with 12%. But it looks like Mark Robinson is going to run away with this NC Lieutenant Governor race. Against strong challenger Andy Wells, but he's still got close to 1,000 precincts that still need to report as well. So there was back with our video feed. Thank you so much for sticking with us. But hopefully you're still able to hear us, and we will. Y'all stop making me laugh. So anyway, thanks to all our sponsors, and thanks to our wonderful tech crew. Were we able to pull the numbers on the NC Lieutenant Governor for the Democrat race? And the last one I want to mention before we go off air is the Jones County NC Senate District 6 race, and then we'll wrap up the night with that, because we've got pretty much most of the contests I think people were asking for. All right. All right. Tim, do you want to read this off to us?
Sure. Okay, so we got going on here. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Democrats, Alan Thomas coming in 19%, Bill Toole 9%, Terry Van Dyne 21%, Chaz Beasley 18%, Yvonne Lewis Holly 25%, and Ron Newton 5%. So looks like we've got a pretty close race between Yvonne Lewis Holly and Terry Van Dyne, with about 1,000 precincts still left to report. So be one to watch that. Alan Thomas 19, Chaz Beasley 18. They're duking it out for third place maybe.
And we've got an update on the NC Senate 6. This is the one I had. And with 30 of 31 precincts reporting, Michael Azera is going to win that, as we predicted earlier. But we'll share the official when it's 31 of 31 reporting. But it looks like he will win this NC Senate District 6 primary election against Bob Williams, and face a Democratic challenger. I don't know that person's name off the top of my head, so forgive me for that. But this is for Senator Harry Brown's seat, which is a very popular senator, very influential senator in the state of North Carolina, but it's representing both Jones County and Onslow County in the North Carolina.
Big population center.
Yeah, that's right, on the North Carolina Senate side. With that, really just want to say, as we kind of wrap up things here, don't forget to join us on our Facebook group, ReReport, newsnews.com. Be sure to subscribe to the daily news newsletter. It's at www.newsnews.com/subscribe. It's free. It's got all the top headlines. Be sure to thank all of our sponsors. Want to say a special thanks to Waterpool Realty, Brooks Pool. Be sure to give him a call. That phone number again was 526-8756. Again, that's 526-8756 for all of your commercial and residential property needs. Thank you so much for supporting us tonight. Representative Chris Humphrey for NC House, thank you so much for your patrons as well. Fox Trail Mini Stores, please go see Chris Rouse as Bride Amy. They got a good business there, good folks, and really appreciate their support our broadcast tonight. Matrix East has always been a big supporter of our election night coverage results. I know John Nix has been heavily involved in politics in our community for a long time. And I just want to say thank you to John and Christopher. I appreciate their support with Matrix East. Bannister Fine Gifts, Bruce Bannister, he was one of our very first advertisers when we launched News News. Never forgotten that. I got a chance to speak at the LaGrange Chamber of Commerce annual dinner about a week or so ago. He said, love to help support our broadcast here this evening, and can't say enough good things about Joe Hargan and the team there at King's Restaurant. Great barbecue, great people, and it's the kind of place that everybody recognizes when you're in Kinston, you need to go eat
That's right.
at King's Restaurant. Tyndall, any final words that you'd like to kind of share with us?
I think we've got, I had a pretty good showing here today, and I appreciate you letting me stay on, and maybe I'll see you in November.
Oh, yeah, look, man, I appreciate it as well. And look, I pull up that graphic on our team again, Travis. I want to say a big thank you to everybody that's been involved on our team on this broadcast. Brandon Potter, our Chief Creative Officer, Gracie Herring. Gracie, wave to us again, Gracie. Our social media producer, Christy Bach, our election results analyst. There's the big wave, Christy. Matt was in your way. Stephanie Town, our graphics coordinator. She's got that beautiful hair in the corner of your screen. Matt Lococo, our election results and social media. Dr. Travis Town, you can't miss him. He's right smack in the middle of your screen with that slick head. I pulled all that out earlier, about 30 minutes before we went on. He blames me on that. And I'm your publisher, executive producer of tonight's broadcast, BJ Murphy. Thank you so much for having us in your home. Thank all our sponsors again. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. And if there's anything we can do for you here at News News, please reach out. Let us know at info@newsnews.com. Y'all have a good night, and thank you for voting.